Good morning and welcome back to our TV show EU Deal After Brexit. Today I present to you Marion and Camille from the Catholic University of Lille in Master 1 International and European Business Law, and they will talk about the freedom of establishment and the rights of consumers. So let's start with Marion. And the first question is, can you define the freedom of establishment?
Yeah, sure. So the freedom of establishment allows companies incorporated in one member state to be recognized and to enjoy the benefits of incorporation in any other member state without question. And to define the other notion about consumers, citizens of EU have the freedom to buy goods and services in any other member state freely.
Well, thank you. Is Brexit will impact freedom of establishment for companies?
Well, Brexit will necessarily have consequences for the right of establishment of companies incorporated under English law in Europe and vice versa for a company governed by the law of the member state established in the United Kingdom. These consequences will affect both the recognition of companies and the law applicable to them, as well as their mobility by transfer of their registered office or by cross-border merger.
Well, thank you. So, from a legal point of view, Brexit will lead to the waiver of the application of all European provisions in order to redefine domestic law?
Yes. After Brexit, a treaty regime and EU law will cease to apply, and company law will only be governed by national legal provisions. Companies will become third country companies and lose their right of establishment. Member states will be able to apply their national international private law rules. The United Kingdom has already anticipated this change in domestic law by adopting regulation and creating a draft with the EU exit regulation in 2019. This regulation is intended to avoid any legal vacuum.
Well, thank you very much, Marion. And let's continue with you, Camille. Are there any changes on the UK consumer rights?
Well, the actual UK consumer protection is based on EU legislation, but it is not certain that the UK will keep on harmonizing its national law with the law enacted by the EU, since they do not have the obligation to do so, which might lead to less protection for consumers. For example, in the EU, in case of distance selling, a customer can cancel its order up to 14 days after its delivery, and the same principle applies in the UK. But with Brexit, EU law could be overturned by the government of the UK, and previous regulations may apply again and lead to less protection for UK consumers, as it gives only 7 days to consumers to send back the goods.
Okay, thank you. And what about goods import in the UK?
As a member of the EU, the UK benefited from the free movement of goods between EU countries, which means that when a consumer imported a product in the UK from another EU member state, there were no import duties or taxes. Now that the UK left the EU, consumers will have to pay import VAT on the goods when arriving in the UK. So in order to determine the rate of the VAT, the value of the goods will be taken into account, which might lead to an increase in the price of the goods. In addition, credit card users may also face increased costs for euro transactions.
Well, thank you very much, Marion and Camille. And thank you for your attention, and see you next time.